Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folari. Let's take our look this time at the by-elections that occurred last week, and it would appear that the ruling APC has swept the majority as INEC released results in 16 states. The ruling APC haven't secured, successes across, 12 of the 16 constituencies contested. Okay, our guest this morning is Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu, former Chief Whip, Anambra State House of Assembly. He's also a one-time head of Ohaneze Ndigbo Youth Volunteer Force. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
Indeed. So, well, I don't know how you see that. As I was just saying, APC, seems to have to be consolidating across, the election platform, shall we say, in the by-elections that just passed. First of all, let me take your assessment of how things went.
Yeah, thank you very much. Looking around the states where the elections were conducted, and then also the reports that have come in from the various states, both from the different parties, from the local and international observers, and from the results announced by INEC, you will see that most of those elections, were majorly, influenced by first of all, the candidature of the party.
Yes.
Secondly, the government, the party that's controlling the state where the election was conducted. Then, thirdly, currently there are so many things that have happened in Nigeria in recent times, whereby many people are now beginning to, give a chance, acceptability, understanding to the APC presidency led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which most of us prior to this period have always been considered with serious skepticism, especially in the early days of his presidency, whereby the two major policies he unleashed on Nigeria, the issue of subsidy removal and the issue of closing up of the dual dollar exchange rates, the ripple effect he had on the economy, and then the effect he had on the masses, the suffering and others was too much for people to bear at that initial stage. But with time, as time goes on, as he continued to bring about policies and the programs that are people-oriented, people have started to appreciating that and saying that maybe they can give Mr. President a chance. Now, looking at it from so many prisms, you see that like the students' scholarship scheme, the job and the family welfare packages, and then the reduced insecurity in most parts of the country, and then hope that security is coming to Nigeria, then infrastructure development that is taking place and others are part of this that people are started to consider prior to now. And also, if you look at you will see that the extent of the Fulani herdsmen violence on the farmers and indigenous communities have equally drastically reduced. The security agencies have become, I think, more serious. And Mr. President has shown commitment by most times whenever there's an action that he goes to that place and make provision for the people. So you see, these factors influence the voting of people in the last election. Okay. But you also have to understand that there were also voter apathy across board. But most times, you see in off-season elections, voter apathy also always come about. But if you also go to some other places like in Anambra, you see that Anambra own was like a military zone, a war zone, like in Gaza, where you see thousands of armed militia taking over the full control of all the wards and polling units across the South Secretariat Zone in Anambra State and Onitsha, not one constituency. In Anambra own was like it was a war. That wasn't an election, it was a war. And at the end of it, the result that came out from that Anambra election was not the result that we got on the field, but what they used the guns to now go and concoct and announce. The level of apathy in that election in some places, in fact, the total number of votes that were cast from our reports, from our various polling units gathered, there were no up to 40,000 voters across the 7 local governments in the South Secretariat Zone. But by the time you see that Abga having 90,000, which was laughable. And they also used the militants to prevent candidates from coming out to vote or for having access to their people, having their freedom during election. They used militia. Thousands of them, heavily armed with pump action and AK-47. Even the police, the army, and DSS were afraid to confront them. But I don't know if it was a connivance, but I would say afraid to confront them. So generally the elections were peaceful, and in most states, and people exercise their franchise. But that of Anambra, I mean, this is a war. It was a war, and federal government had to look into it.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable. We're going to come to that, but just on the point where you reached about violence, the way it has been said is that APGA, naturally, it is thought by many, consolidated its dominance in Anambra under the leadership of Governor Soludo. That is, I'm paraphrasing at least one report on it. But tarry a while, let me play this, little report that we have on it, and then I'll come back to you to elaborate.
Deputy Governor blatantly came to my polling booth, came to my ward, my community, came to my place, my community of Sumeyi, arrested our polling agent consultants, arrested people from my community, took their phones, took their money, took everything to hand them, even their voters' card, he collected them. It is when I arrived, and I stopped and said, you cannot, with all routine of policemen, Udokachi people, one man of security came, besiege my community. I said, you cannot leave the community with these people.
The home of the party candidate for that senatorial election in the person of Chief Azuko Uche, how his house was surrounded just to ensure that he did not even exercise the common franchise of voting. You are also aware of the killing of the chairman of APC, Henry, Ward 2. And you are aware that Henry town is the home state of the deputy governorship candidate of our party.
Okay, so there you have it, Honorable Tony Uche. That's, one response to the allegation that we're talking about. So what would be your sort of take?
Yeah, my brother, I was there live when this thing that President Dr. Nicholas Okajukwu expressed now. I was there because my team were monitored the election in Nnewi South and part of Nnewi North. And then, you see, the time I went to the collation center in Ukpo, in Nnewi South, oh my God, my brother, I thought that it was just as if Nigeria has gone into a real war with another country. I saw these Udogachi people, more than 700 of them armed to the teeth with AK-47, with pump actions. They surrounded the whole local government headquarters where the INEC office was situated. They even had, they were having chants and so many things. And the funny thing, majority of them are not from Anambra State. They were imported from Rivers Delta, from Rivers Bayelsa, from Cross Rivers, and other places in order to execute the election. Now, by the time we are like literally held hostage by the Udogachi people. And this deputy governor, with the local government chairman of Nnewi South, with the commissioner for Environment, Honorable Omus, and that Felix, and among others. They were parading around with these men as if we are in a Gestapo, a war situation. In fact, this is worse than even what we can see in Afghanistan. You know, by the time we had to gradually plead ourselves and even pay ourselves through to get out of that place. And by the time we heard with other local international observers what was happening in Osumeni, we quickly moved to Osumeni and Ezinifite. There we saw the worst of it. Some of these were captured with phones on cameras, but immediately they see anybody capturing anything, they will rush to the person, grab the phone, break the phone, or delete the whole thing. They beat up some of the people that were attached to me. Some observers were beaten, and their documents, their files confiscated from them. Some of them, their phones seized, their recorders seized. Some of them were beaten up. Even journalists were beaten up in Osumeni and in Ezinifite, Nnewi. So many other things happened in Agwata, government area, in Orumba North, in Orumba South, in Ihala was another war situation. Then Ekusigo was the worst of it, where the government chairman called Owere Okeke, that took charge of the election as if he was the INEC official or the monitoring the election, with heavily armed military men that are backing up the Udogachi, that are armed with not only Popeyes but AK-47. You know, when they move from Prini to Prini to skate, once you are not voting for ABGA, they'll chase you away and beat you up and chase you away from the voting centers. They were shooting, smoking Indian hemps and all manner of drugs there. The whole place, and some of them performing rituals in the polling units and in collection centers. The kind of terrorism, the militants that the ABGA government of Soludo brought in did not at all show that ABGA is actually a dominant party in Anambra State, but they are using force and coercion to win. Let me tell you something. The problem they have is this. Because of the crisis in ABGA, whereby, you know, ABGA was factionalized for a very long time. At the end of it, Supreme Court decided in favor of Sly Ezeokonwa, that's Soludo's faction against Edozie Njoko, of which I was National Vice Chairman Southeast. I'm a founding member of ABGA. We started the ABGA from 2001 to 2002, and I've been there to date. Now, by the time the foreigners came in and hijacked the party, most of all the real owners of ABGA defected, moved with President Nicolas Okachukwu into APC. Because we saw that already ABGA had lost steam and control because, one, Soludo had made insecurity to become the order of the day. And we have seen it in last Saturday election, why insecurity prevailed in Anambra State. If for him to use insecurity as an excuse to use force to rig election in Anambra State. The election on Saturday in Anambra State was completely rigged with non-state actors, and police was complicit. They are watching. In fact, when the commissioner of police came with one, I think that man is AIG, and some other security chiefs to Ezinifite, where President Nicolas Okachukwu and other, there's Ezinifite in Nnewi South, with other people that came to monitor, because we are called and told that they were there holding people hostage. We now have to move to go and know what is happening. They now held everybody hostage. We were there for hours until the CP came with the AIG, with DSS officials, civil defense, and others. By the time they came there, you can imagine that those militants, those terrorist group, that armed terrorist group, were challenging the police and the DSS and army. They could not do anything. You can't imagine that the army had to, at a point, run away from that point.
Really?
Now, yeah, I was there live. I can even show you some from my phone here because I was able to capture a little part of it. And their sheer number, they were in about 36 trucks and buses. I have opportunity, the time they detained me, they held me, hosted with some others. I was opportunity to get near their bus. And that bus was filled with all forms of arms. I wonder where they get this kind of arms from. I just wonder what is happening. What Soludo, Professor Soludo have turned Anambra State into. Now we now understand why he allowed insecurity to take over 32% of the geography of Anambra State, the most part of Ihara local government, Nnewi South, Orumba South, part of Agwata, part of Obaru local government, and so many other areas have been totally taken over and controlled by non-state actors. You cannot go there, cannot come out. And I think these are most of the people that we see on ground carrying these guns are some of the names that we used to hear people call that are part of the unknown government and the people that have been kidnapping and terrorizing our people. That means there must be a connection between the Anambra State government, Vigilante, Udogachi, Chamber group, and those members that are holding our forest hostage. And actually, some of them say that name Udogachi doesn't mean actually, it means actually Soludo Gachi Ozo. That is in Igbo. In English, it means Soludo must rule for a second term. That means when people have been complaining that those outfits set up earlier this year, February this year, was actually designed as a political instrument to intimidate and suppress people, whereby the Abga and Soludo have lost the favor of the people because of his abysmal performance. He had lost favor of the people, and the people are no longer moved from Abga into APC. Currently, I'll tell you without me saying word, do a free and fair election today. APC will win Abga and others in Anambra State.
You know, it's Abga. Interesting.
I've been an Abga man. I've been criticizing APC before. But with what's happening, by the time our governor and leader now decided to sell Abga to APC, to Mr. President, whereby he said, progressive working together. He will put the picture of the governor in the governor and put the picture of the President Tinubu of APC. Progressive working together. You see that.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up and say, what do you think of that? I was going to bring that up.
What happened? Yeah.
But, so honorable, I really apologize for interrupting you, but we do have someone on the line. So let me quickly not lose that call. Let me take on Mr. Joshua. Good morning, Mr. Joshua. Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, this is Joshua.
Yeah.
And good morning to your guest.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hello?
He just responded.
Hello?
Please.
Okay. Please, Uncle Yori, all I can do is to sue for peace. The Southeast is a region that can do a lot of good for Nigeria. That region is blessed with a lot of human resources. The human empowerment or the human capacity to actually grow Nigeria is much in the Southeast. Now look at the language there. This is an election that affects just a state in the Southeast. Imagine when it is a general election. Now it becomes a war. Now can we just get to the time where our politicians can understand that governance is about providing benefits to the people, not about hijacking power and using it for their own selfish reasons. This is what is going on in Nigeria. Sorry to say Southeast. One is bothered about the campaign of violence, everywhere. Whether there is time of peace or it is election or an after election, everything you hear, especially on social media, is violence. Burn it down. Destroy it. I mean, what for?
All right.
It's really disheartening.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in with that, Mr. Joshua. Our guest has heard it as well. I'm sure you will have some comments.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Joshua. I really share your concern. That's why I'm here. I've been a very prominent leader of Ohanese and Igbo to maintain peace. I was the leader. I was the former national youth leader for Ohanese and Igbo Youth worldwide. I was also the leader of the Ohanese and Igbo Youth Volunteer Force. It's a volunteer security outfit that during my own tenure and that of Igariwe going forward, we used to ensure there is peace and security across the Southeast. Now, having also the insight and the privilege of information, let me tell you, Southeast love peace. We love peace. We're not violent people. Everybody knows that. And what is happening is so disheartening. And then the worst of it is when a governor is a professor, an international professor, in quote, that is now the person perpetrating this kind of heinous crime against humanity. The human beings are not allowed to exercise their franchise, and the police and other security agencies are there keeping mute or being suppressed or overwhelmed by them. And that's a time has come. Let me tell you, this is exactly how the Boko Haram issue started in the Northeast.
Okay.
Then when politicians finish using these men giving them, arming them. They do not retrieve back these arms. Most of these arms that are given to all these men, from my own records, there were over 1,800 of these armed militia across the state as at that Saturday election. Those that arrested me and my team and observers that were moving around to monitor what was happening across board, there were about more than 180 of them. And they were shooting sporadically. Can you imagine civilians, very not carrying AK-47 during election in the polling units, intimidating the electoral officers, the voters, and others. So Joshua is right.
All right.
We need to sue for peace.
Let me
beg our governor, Soludo. We are not in war.
Okay.
Please. Mr. President should look into Anambra State, because before under Boko Haram erupts in Anambra State and South East, please, something has to be done about it.
Let me take Peters calling in from Abuja. Good morning to you, sir. Peters.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Please caution that your man from please caution that man from Anambra. He's talking to people with sense.
He's talking to people with...
He's quoting figures, 1,800.
Okay.
I don't know.
I said over. I didn't just say I said over.
Like he's talking to kids with sense.
Oh my God, my brother.
Okay.
Make
There's
an inquiry,
a problem with
make a contact to Anambra.
Peters, are you still there? Because I wanted to ask you...
Election. You understand what I'm saying? It's a fact. It's a reality.
Okay. All right.
I'm being conservative about it.
Well, okay, Peters, if you're still there, you can't be listening to us, Peter, on your television. We really need you to use your phone. It's causing a delay. It might be convenient because maybe you're not the only person watching this, maybe in your home or office or wherever you're watching from. But please, you need to, forget the TV as a listening device. Can you hear me, Peter? Could you please talk into your phone so we won't have any delay?
Part of the public. We should know that we are talking to people who can reason, not quoting figures which you cannot substantiate. Him, a single human being attacked by 1,800 people.
No, he didn't say it was attacked.
That's not what I said.
He didn't say it was
attacked.
No,
that's not what I said.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Yes, there was something happened.
No. You didn't get me.
Please let
account of what when
it
comes to verification, we can substantiate.
Okay.
So please
let me
who have sense. We were not in a war situation.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Peter. So there you have it. He's saying...
Please.
He's implying that what you said is exaggerated. Okay, go ahead.
I said, no, what I said is not exaggerated. I said that the team that accosted me were about 180 of them. They were in 20-something trucks and buses. They were in a very large convoy. If you watch most of the videos that we are shown, you will see them. That is one going to one area. Now, if you check those that are in the same way in 7 local governments of the state, in 326 wards, they were present at least 6 trucks in all the wards, 6 trucks and buses in all the in all the 100 and something wards that we have in Anambra State. Check 6 trucks across all the 100 and something wards we have there. Then check the number. The number that came in that accosted us is in about 24 to 26 trucks and buses. I am putting the exact figure. They were captured on camera. Fact, check what I'm telling you. I said if you check the number that were deployed in this election across all the 7 local governments and across all the polling units, they are more than 1,800.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're making an estimation.
Anybody from every polling unit. I'm not exaggerating.
You are making an estimation that Peters is challenging. Say, look, it's an estimation. He's implying that you might have overestimated because you yourself.
I did not. I'm even being conservative about the numbers.
Okay, you're being conservative. Okay, all right.
Yes, about the numbers.
Okay, I don't want us to get bogged down with this because you've made the point. It has been heard, but I wanted to also, bring up a sort of curiosity. It was widely published that Governor Soludo, that you've not been very kind to in your remarks, he said that he's friends with the APC leader, if one can call him that. I'm talking about His Excellency the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the kind of way you've spoken about him, it just has nothing to do with that sentiment which Soludo, volunteered freely. So I was just surprised there. I said, is it not the same Professor Soludo?
No, what I said is the fact that Professor Charles Soludo, having lost the support of the people and the because of his abysmal performance in Anambra as a governor, and because of his failed promises, he promised Anambra people so much that he's going to turn Anambra to African Dubai, Taiwan, and Silicon Valley. In the end, we are not seeing any of those things. And he's using taxation, force, and intimidation on the people. And now he has lost track with the masses, with the people. The Abga has lost spirit. He has lost the philosophy. People that no longer believe in that Abga that is our own, the Ojuku's Abga. He removed Ojuku's head from the Abga uniform. Removed the thing about Ojuku and about what we pride in. And also hijacked the party with a few of his cronies. So the owners of Abga, the real original members of Abga, have defected. Those that used to win election in Anambra State have defected from Abga to APC. So because of that, he knows that the only savior he can have is relying on his friendship with Mr. President to beg Mr. President to give him endorsement and support. And that's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
He can no longer say, like in Peter Obi's time, Peter Obi stood his ground. Obiano stood his ground because they were performing. They provided security, infrastructure, and so many other things. This time around, he had to run to Mr. President every day to go and beg for approval and for support.
All right.
If he is actually in tune with the masses of Anambra, if you are not using security to suppress the people, use taxation to deal with traders and Anambra people, would he be running to a president of another party for endorsement and support?
And
that's what I'm saying.
And you feel that
because he has lost.
And you feel that this somehow figured in the elections that we're talking about in Anambra?
Well, as far as we are concerned in Anambra, it had nothing to do with Mr. President. What happened in Anambra is the issue of him using the power of incumbency as the governor and the chief security officer of the state to use non-state actors and security forces in order to oppress and suppress voters and the opponents, in order to impose a candidate of a choice on the people against the will of the people, against the voting population of the people. By the time the real votes that were cast in the wards are collected, because they were still collecting results in the wards when they announced they are still collecting the wards when they announced the results. So now, if he is actually like the Abga we used to know, the Abga we were part of, the Abga Ojuku was part of, the Abga of Chukwa Sokori, the Abga of in those days and other things. No, the Abga do not use violence to win election. We appeal to conscience of the people. We use sentiments, political sentiments to win elections and to win votes. And when it's necessary, we also use pecs. Now, can you imagine, apart from sharing between 20,000 and 50,000 per voter in Aguata and most other places, after spending so much money to buy votes, up to between 20,000 and 50,000 naira to buy votes in this election, he still could not have the trust of that or confidence that his popularity, his performance, and his money will get him there. He now use non-state actors and security to now to intimidate people and now to get a fake result that was they announced for them.
We have to add allegedly at the end of your submission. Allegedly.
Yes. Okay, allegedly. No, yes. I don't have any issue with that. Allegedly used. But I'll tell you, it's on record. It's on record.
Okay.
On where they were sharing the money and how much they are sharing.
Okay. Excuse me, please. Well, Maazi Okorafor has been listening to you, waiting to join the program. Good morning, Maazi Okorafor. Oh, no. Have you waited that long only for the audio to be like this? Mazi Okorafo, can you hear me?
Good morning, sir.
Okay, okay.
Good morning, sir. When we talk about this election of the last week, then, you see, it looks as if it's an election of using money. Money in the sense that many people that went to vote in some states, they were told that they use money to buy people, which is not healthy. That is why we are talking about the election, the voters apathy. The voters apathy in the sense that it is the job of political parties and the INEC themselves to educate Nigerians on the importance of coming out to vote. Not for us to come to take money and buy your vote and buy your conscience. Just for you use money and buy your conscience, you as an individual, you have no right to come and start alleging that constitutional funds, they have not done anything. It's just from poverty which makes Nigeria to go and attack accident. When you collect ticket of 10,000, 20,000, for how many days will it take you? Looking at the situation, but you have 4 years ahead for you as an individual. Now, the youth, it is the job for the youth to go and educate Nigeria. Now, they're talking about going to register for forthcoming election. How many people are going? So people say they don't have Android phones to do that. Do the youth or the community helping the matters? Do the National Assembly members, State House Assembly, or local government, are they helping? But they're not helping, but everyone see that. When it is time to close, you see fire brigade, which is not healthy. Our level of education is Nigeria's major problem. The earlier we do the needful, the better for us. But this issue I was talking about, Nigeria should learn the spirit of how that spirit of what? If you fail, go. Yes.
Okay. Mazi, thank you very much for that. If you wanted to comment on that, I think we'll take a break. We'll be right back. So hold the thought, and we'll be right back to Tony Uche Ezekwelu, former Chief Whip, Anambra State House of Assembly, former National Youth Leader Ohaneze Ndigbo Worldwide, and indeed a one-time head of Ohaneze Ndigbo Youth Volunteer Force. Do please stay with us. We'll be right back.
And that's it on TVC News. We're back at the top of the hour with more updates. Breaking news. 2 words that define our world. Unpredictable, but inevitable. It's the rush of adrenaline, the spark that ignites our curiosity. But you see, breaking news is more than just a headline or an attention grabber. It's a responsibility to tell the truth, to seek out the facts, and to share the stories that need to be told.
As a news anchor, I've witnessed history unfold before my eyes.
From moments of triumph to times of tragedy, beyond the screaming headlines, there are real people, real communities and families affected by the news. And that's why breaking news isn't just about being first, but being accurate, balanced, and reliable. It's given our audience the information they need to make informed choices and decisions. At TVC News, that's what we stand for, going beyond the surface, telling the stories that matter, first with breaking news.
Meet Benga Oreshegun, a fearless voice and an advocate for the truth. He's bringing fresh energy and bold insights to Journalists Hangout.
Get ready for deeper analysis and dynamic perspectives. Join me and Babajide Kolade Otitoju with other veteran journalists on Journalists Hangout. Weekdays from 5 p.m. and on Sundays 1:30 p.m.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News, first with breaking news.
In a world where news never sleeps, we're taking a giant leap into the future. We at TVC Communications are proud to introduce a new era in news broadcasting. But first, let me introduce my special friend, Olamide AI. Hi, Olamide Human. Is it time to come out yet? Yes, indeed it is. And you can bring your friends along. Meet our new AI anchors, speaking your language and sharing your stories. From English, good day. These are the news headlines, to Pidgin.
Better country people, on a good evening.
Yoruba.
Ekaro, Ekodede Asikoyi, Shedadalabayi.
Igbo.
Ndewo, Auto Innovation. Ahambu Obada Samson Ejiro.
And Hausa.
Mutane na sanar da zuwa, sunana Rakia Abdulkarim kuma kana kallon TVC News.
We are bringing the news closer to you. Faster, smarter, and always reliable. And together, we are shaping the future of news for every Nigerian, everywhere. Innovation, connection, and trust. The future of news is here.
TVC News, first with breaking news. And now first in Nigeria with AI news anchors.
Okay, welcome back. We still have Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu with us. Thank you for being still with us. I said let us go on that short break in case you wanted to comment on what Mazi Okorafor had presented, his presentation. Some of it you were agreeing with, but sort of shed the light. What would be your commentary on Mazi Okorafor's submissions?
Yeah, thank you, Uncle Yori. Now, you see, one problem that we have here is that our people have failed to realize that the process of electing a leader and being part of electing our leaders naturally is one of the most important civic duties you have to do. That's because right. If you are not part of electing their leaders, then you'll be sure that leaders will be imposed on you which you will not like. Then that's number one. Number two, I mean about normal civic responsibility of people. Then secondly, the issue of vote buying. Can you imagine that they will go to houses of people, offer them money, provide vehicles to them, pay them, and bring them to the polling centers to come and vote? I mean, when such a thing starts happening, where are we driving to? It becomes very, very...
To be fair, Honorable, this allegation against the voting, the electorates, and the organizers of the elections and all of that, it wasn't just in Anambra that this was alleged. You would have been in tune with the news.
Yes, I agree with you. It's all round. Because most times, we know that off-season elections, most times, the INEC, the National Orientation Agency, and political parties, most times, like regional elections, they usually give very short notice to the elections. Like that, this particular one is just about less than a month to prepare for the elections. And most times, INEC will complain of not having resources that they will use in a public awareness and mobilization of the people towards elections. The political parties, having short notice, the period of fulfilling the INEC requirements of doing the primaries, providing the agents and other things that will work, they are very tedious processes. By the time they are done with it, they have a few days left into the elections. Then the National Orientation Agency are supposed to be doing most of the job. It's not doing anything in that regards. Because the major reason why National Orientation Agency is in place is to be able to awaken people to their civic responsibilities. Ensure that people are adequately mobilized in order to play their own part in the democracy.
Yeah.
But I think there's a serious disconnect between the INEC, the National Orientation Agencies, and the political parties. Quite unlike in those days, you see adverts for National Orientation Agency everywhere. They will go to the street, sharing leaflets, going to the markets, to the churches. They are not doing that again. And also, the department in INEC that's responsible for voter education no longer do their job at all.
Okay,
so
one moment.
I think
let me come on here.
Majority.
Let me come on here. I beg your pardon. Akaraka in Abuja. Good morning to you, sir. Akaraka in Abuja. Good morning.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning, Uncle.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead now.
Okay. Once more, good morning, Uncle. You know, good morning. You know,
yes.
I'm an Anambrarian.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, I hear you.
Anambrarian.
Well, I'm happy to know that.
My brother. As a matter of fact, it's to my greatest chagrin that my brother who is seated in the studio there says that Soludo is not governing well. I'm not a partisan. I hope you know me very well. As a matter of fact, Apoka, like from Peter Gregory Onguvilodi to Madabuchuku Obiano, now to Soludo, Apoka have been doing well as a party in terms of governance in Anambra. And anybody who doubts to say Soludo is not governing well, I don't know where the person came from. I'm an Anambrarian. My community is a club. A club is the headquarters of Agata local government area of Anambra State. And the club is one of the 4 cardinal communities that contribute to the entire generating revenue of Anambra. When you mention Onitsha, Nnewi, Oka, Ekwulọbẹ, these are 4 cardinal communities. All right? And as a matter of fact, it's a shame that somebody will see to tell me that Soludo is not delivering governance in Anambra. I might not like Soludo in other way around, all right? But in terms of governance, purely, Soludo is doing well, please. All right?
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, to the glory of Almighty, P2B did well, Obiano did well, and Soludo is surpassing that in the area of governance. Not two ways about it. All right? I'm not a partisan, so politicians can be talking.
Well,
please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Akaraka. Indeed, I do know you. This time you are operating from Abuja, and as you said, you were being non-partisan. Well, there you have it, Honorable Ezekiel. One man's meat is another man's not meat.
Uncle Yori, we should ask Akaraka, when was the last time he visited Anambra? Was it in Anambra in the last Saturday election? If he had visited Anambra and gone to his village to go for traditional marriage and the burial and the weddings and others, and come back and tell you this, I will understand that he's being serious about it. I've been in Anambra since December last year. In fact, at a point, because I was kidnapped and attempted assassination on my life, I ran away from Anambra and was in exile in Abuja for almost 3 years. I came back last December to Anambra. Now, when I came into Anambra, I can imagine, I limit most of my activities in Oka. And before you move, security. That time you cannot even move. I want Akalaka. Now he says he's not partisan. Akalaka, please, take your phone and start asking people in the various areas in Anambra State their feelings about Soludo administration. Go and fact check it. Forget what I'm talking about. Just like the person talked about, I exaggerated in terms of security. Please go and fact check. Ask people, ask observers, ask journalists, and others that went for the election. The issue is that if Governor Soludo is doing well the way Obiano and Peter did, why is he using a personal militia, in order to intimidate and suppress people in order to win election? Why is he buying votes? So 30,000 to 50,000 in Ethiopia.
Allegedly.
Okay. They were allegedly paying people up to that amount of money, but we have some of this on record. So whenever I talk, I say we have them on record. We have people move around that record most of these things.
Okay.
So now, when you talk about the issue of doing well, it depends on the times you are doing it. Yes, he had done the overhead bridge in Ekwulọbẹ and some other things. Beautiful. I commend him for that. Although it is a federal road project. And we should equally commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Minister of Works for approving that work to be done and for agreeing to pay for that road. The road that moved from Oka to Ekwulọbẹ to Oga to Akokwa is the direction is federal road. The one that moved from Agolo to Nnewi to Okija is a federal project approved by Mr. President and being supervised by the Minister for Works. So now, apart from that, let me tell you something. The worst thing you can do to a people is, one, give them insecurity. Every month, Governor Soludo collects 3 billion naira for security votes. You can go and verify. 3 billion. And the Obiano last I was House of Assembly during Obiano time. It was, during P2B and was an SSA to Obiano. So during Obiano, before he left, it was 1.2 billion. And there was security. Today, Soludo takes 3 billion every month from Anambra people for a security vote to provide security. The security is not there. He's not funding the police, not funding the DSS, not funding the army, and the other security agencies. They are complaining.
Okay, Honorable.
During the time of Peter and Obiano, they fought and provide logistics for them.
Okay, Honorable.
So when you see, when
Uche in Nnewi wants to comment on what you are saying. Good morning, Uche.
Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable. Yeah, this is
good morning, Uche.
I'm calling from Nnewi. The young man that called before now, Akaraka, maybe he's from the region, but he is in Abuja. He is not on ground, so he cannot say. He cannot really say what is happening. Like the Honorable in the studio said, for me, I find it very, very, very surprising, even before now, that the governor that has been in power since over 3 years. Now, it was this year, I think around February, that he didn't need fit to start this Operation Udogachi. This year, this is a man that has been in governance for the past 3 years. So not knowing that the reason for this Operation Udogachi is probably this election. Like the young man said, yeah, he was not exaggerating. That was what happened. We are on ground. The election, so to say, is full of violence, and they are moving around with that same Operation Udogachi, intimidating the voters. We are on ground. Okay, you can imagine that the deputy governor that was from Anambra South, Anambra Central, now had to come to Anambra South. What is a deputy governor on election day doing in Anambra South, whereas he is actually from Anambra Central? These are the things that we are talking about. So the young man there is really on point. The governor that they are saying that he's doing well, the roads that he's doing, demolition of the people's houses. Up to now, as we speak, some of those houses, if rain falls, the rain is entering to people's houses. Are you getting me? So they are saying that he's doing well, but he came in governance when the people we are collecting, the previous government were collecting about 12,000 naira from the people that are doing business in the local shops. They were collecting 12,000 naira. The previous government, now he took it to 32,000 for an individual, not per shop, for an individual. So if people are in trade in the shop, 32,000 naira times 3. So is that the governance you are talking about?
All right.
Most of the roads.
Thank you very much for calling in with that. But, okay, these objections are going to be addressed, are they not, Honorable? Because you make these kind of observations or allegations, they must be investigated. You said that Governor Soludo, Governor Professor Soludo is so much not with it that he has to be running to Tinubu for credibility, is what you sort of implied in there. But there are others who are saying that he's doing an excellent job. So I guess those, you see, I can only say what we hear as a reporter.
Uncle Yori, ABGA is an opposition party. Is that not so?
Correct.
Why would go to Anambra State, go to Okak now, and other, you see billboards. You see Soludo billboard. You see him joint with campaigning with Barame Tinubu, APC president, an opposition party. Why was he looking for that endorsement and credibility? Because he had lost everyone. Apart from that, my brother, now let's have a look at it.
But that relates only to the presidential. I'm sorry to interrupt you. That relates only to the presidential election, is what we've been made to understand. That they are called Concordia.
No. Look at what. Let me explain something to you. He has already bragged, like he's a friend with our president, but the president is going to give him support in this and that. Now, my own talk is not about that. It's a factual thing. Have you ever seen a Democratic governor in the United States of America running to President Trump of Republic to go and seek endorsement and support for him for doing an off-season election? Have you ever seen it happen? Have you ever seen a conservative governor or mayor in the United Kingdom going to the Prime Minister of Labour Party to go and seek for endorsement and support. It's an aberration that can be done here. He knows that he has lost it with the people. Like the caller from Newe said, Soludo is demolishing people's houses without compensation. And he is suffering do you know that he has dissolved the whole market associations in the whole markets in Anambra State and imposed caretakers. And they forced them that every trader must contribute 30,000 naira for his re-election and for this election that is not finished. Do you know that they are forcing people in shops in market women to be contributing 1,000 naira for his re-election by force? Do you know that they are using a group called Akodo? If you refuse to comply with what he's doing, you need to break your legs. Do you know that prior to this election,
these are weighty allegations. These are weighty allegations.
Yes, and I am making them on national TV and asking them to challenge me. And if they feel I have said what today, then charge me to court. I'm ready to appear with them in the TV and in the court. Okay. Then do you know that
in conclusion now,
this election, they had to move the amount of money that people pay for posting posters and billboards to 15 million. So most of the parties may not be able to pay. By the time you finish paying, you don't see the money to campaign again. In conclusion, what I'm saying in effect is that, one, the last Saturday election in Anambra State, initially it started well. We are all happy, commending it, until these armed militants came in. I want to beg Mr. President, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I want to beg the IG of Police, the DG of SS, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Commandant of the National Civil Defense Force, and the other security agencies. They should investigate what really happened in Anambra because this is a very sad point for Nigeria, entire Nigeria.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. That's a fine place to rest it. All these authorities that you have called to investigate what happened is a fine place to leave it, Honorable, because this will just go on and on.
Good, I agree with you. And finally, I want to tell Governor Soludo, we are in democracy. Use your work and conviction to make people to vote for you. Stop coercing people.
Okay, that's Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu. Honorable Tony Uche Ezekwelu, as I said before, is a former Chief Whip of the Anambra State House of Assembly and is also held offices both in the he's been National Youth Leader, Ohaneze Ndibo, as well as...
I was also the National Vice Chairman of ABGA. I was the immediate National Vice Chairman of ABGA.
Indeed. All right, well, so thank you so very much.
My pleasure being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, TVC. You're doing a good job.
Okay.